All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today at the rhepodcast. Joined with a very special guest, Mr. Michael J. Fox. Did I get that right?
Michael J. Fit, yeah.
Mike. Oh, that's really close. Were you trying to copy him?
Yeah, actually, when I came up with my name, I kind of was hinting to the people that, I'm an 80s baby. And so when I was little, Back to the Future, you know what I'm saying? Michael J. Fox, Michael J.
Oh,
Fit
yeah.
was it. But yeah.
All right. And real quick, where are you calling out of?
I'm out here in Valencia City in the Philippines.
All right. And Bub, you said you have some rough weather going on. Can you tell us a bit what's going on there in Ohio?
So right now we've got a high wind advisory and a flash flood warning. So just in case I drop out, it's nobody's fault except for my internet.
Except for God. So Michael, can you tell us a bit how's the weather right now down in the Philippines?
It's looking good today. It really doesn't get like too hot or too cold. It rains quite a bit out here. I would say like 4 times a week it rains out here. Not for too long, but for the most part, it kind of just evens out.
Yeah, well, you've only been there a few months, so wait till the summer rolls around, man. You're going to get some serious humidity. But before we get started in our conversation, we're going to be discussing a little bit about what you do, but we're going to have a friendly fire round. So you ready for that?
Yes, sir.
All right, try to answer these questions as fast as possible. All right. All right.
Friendly fire.
Okay, so if you were stuck on an island, which action star would you trust to get you off of that island?
Arnold Schwarzenegger from back in the days.
All right, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Bub?
I respect the hell out of that answer. What's your favorite kind of art?
What's that?
What's your favorite kind of art?
Like graffiti, like urban graffiti kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. All right. And if you were going to die in any country, what country would you want to die in?
Antarctica, I guess. Right
Freeze to
there in
death?
Antarctica. Right there. You're right there at the North Pole. Yeah, South Pole, something like that.
All right. All right. Get to die with some penguins in
Yeah,
Santa?
something like that. Well, I'm gonna go try to dive into the center of the earth. You know what I'm saying? So, no better of a good place to start.
Hollow Earther, I get it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
All right. Book or film?
What was that?
Book or film?
Film.
Your favorite? Film. Okay.
Film. Ever since I was little, that was the first thing I wanted to be, was an actor. And then I pursued a lot of acting myself. Like in high school, I was in drama a lot. I love movies. I've been in a movie. I've been in commercials, and I want to be in more movies. Yeah, I've been in.
All right.
Yeah.
You've been to talk a little bit about that. But I'm gonna ask you the most important question you've ever been asked, and it's so surprising to me that more people have not thought about this question. But if you were gonna get killed by any fictional horror character, who would you want to die at the hands of?
Is Predator okay? Because I think that he would give me a good chance to battle it out on the battlefield, warrior style, and so I'd rather go at the hands of Predator.
But all right, Bub. Last one.
You know what? What band do you hate? Musical group.
I really don't hate anyone or anything, but I guess to the most disliking, I wouldn't be so much of a specific group, but maybe, stuff that involves like, really like death metal, I guess you would say. I like metal. But not like the death stuff where they're just, talking about really bad, hateful stuff. I don't like it. Yeah.
I'm on record. I will go on record. I do hate the band BTS. Those guys need to be banned off of this planet, man. Okay. Anyway, yeah, and I'm Korean. All right. So Michael, can you give us a 1 minute really quick, brief summary about what you're doing and just anything you want to tell us about yourself?
I'm just very grateful to be here. I'm very grateful to be living another day. I'm very grateful to be on this podcast with you guys. I love living every day to its fullest. I love, what I do. I love helping people out. I feel that, extremely happy with, everything that's going on in my life, and any way that I can help anybody out at any given time, brings me extreme joy. And, I'm here to be fulfilled and make the absolute most I can out of my life while I'm here.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, that's great. So I'm living in South Korea and you are living in Asia, and Mr. Bub here has lived in Germany. I was wondering real
Oh,
quick if you could tell me what did you like the most about living overseas, and then we'll ask you, Mike, the same thing. Bub.
Wait, are you? Oh, you're asking me first. Okay. Um, you know, interestingly, I liked the freedom that came with living in Germany. Like the Germans did not a fly really about what you did.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you treated other people civilly, you didn't break any laws. They just didn't care. If you want to go out, have some drinks, and race go-karts, which have done, highly recommend. Um, yeah, do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's actually almost encouraged because the go-kart track I went to had a bar above the track. So,
Wow. It's probably not a good idea.
oh, it was a terrible idea. I had to go to the hospital because someone ran
oh,
me.
Ouch. And so, Mike,
It was fun as hell.
can you tell us real quick, how long have you been living in the Philippines and what have you enjoyed the most about it?
roughly about 3 months. And I guess you would say the most I've enjoyed is that where I'm at is that, kind of like, you were saying in Germany, nobody really, cares what you do. Nobody really judges you. Everybody's just going about doing their thing. It's a lot more peaceful here. The
Yeah.
food is great. The food is great, but everybody's just doing their own thing. I don't see people arguing. I don't see people
Uh,
fighting. There's not people honking at each other, cussing each other out. It's just a lot more peaceful over here.
Isaiah Perez is on the record. I'm sorry, misnamed myself. Isaiah Diesel is on record right now for saying the Philippines have the nicest people I have ever met in my
Mhm.
life. And I've been to a lot of countries. Those people are so cool, right?
Yeah, they're very nice. I thought I was gonna be, maybe like an outcast, or people were, maybe not gonna like me just because they can see I'm obviously like, a foreigner. But they're
Hmm.
actually very welcome to foreigners over here, and they're very
Yeah.
nice, and I love it. Yeah,
And Mike, are you're from California, right?
Cali, baby, West Coast.
There you go.
Yeah, born and raised in California.
Love.
You know it.
California.
You know it. Yeah.
Are you familiar with Delano?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of Filipinos that live there, and actually, my church, there's a lot of Filipinos that go there. There's about like 10 or 15. So, yeah,
Okay.
they like to get out. All right. Well, real quick, can you tell us how you got to the Philippines, and why did you decide to move there?
So it was a few years back. I was talking to one of my coaches, and he was living somewhere in Asia, and he was telling me about how it was out there. He was showing me his house and just, very much telling me kind of like what I'm telling you right now. And a long time ago, I decided, I'm like, you know what? Because he asked me, what do you want in your future? What do you want to do? Tell me something. We're having that conversation, and I pretty much told him, I'm like, I want to be where you're at. I want to be in a foreign country, doing my thing online. And I remember, I just had it in my mind that I wanted to move somewhere out of the country. And I thought a good place would be Asia, because I've always, heard, specific parts of it, it's very peaceful there. And so for a long time, I would actually, visualize myself being there. remind myself of the goal that one day I want to be there and I want my life to be like that. So I would, manifest that into my reality, and after a while, I finally got the opportunity to come out here. What happened was my father, he had, after my mother passed away, he had met a woman out here in the Philippines. And, they met, he came out here to visit her. They hit it off. And he flew back over here and he said, yeah, I'm going to marry that woman. I'm going to move back over there. And so he's like, can you help me sell the house, or can you help me, move out, my stuff out of the house, and I'm going to sell it. I'm going to go over there. And I said, sure, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go with you. And it turned
Oh,
out, luck is being on my side, that there was a place 2 doors down from where he was moving that was open. So I had he had his wife book this place for me. So I had an apartment right here, right when I moved here.
all right. Bub, you got a question?
Yeah. So I mean, was the Philippines your first choice in place to move, or was there somewhere else you'd rather be at? Maybe someplace you could be in the future.
For right now, it wasn't anything very specific of exactly where I wanted to be. I just knew it was somewhere like in Asia. I was very just open to it. And in the future, I'm not really seeing myself moving back to the States. If I do, maybe it would be somewhere, where there's a lot of lands. I've heard that, Idaho is nice, but I definitely want to experience this world as much as I can. I heard Amsterdam is pretty cool, but
I
it's
was just
where I begin to, yeah, where I begin to travel, because I plan on doing some more traveling wherever I visit, and I find that it's really cool there. Then maybe I'll make a home there.
Yeah, you come out to Korea anytime you want, but I'll show you a good time.
I
But really
can't wait.
quick, yeah, really quick, can you tell us very specifically what it is that you do?
Okay, so I coach people online. As far as my business is concerned, I coach people online with life and relationship coaching, and pretty much what that is I help individuals empower themselves. I help them discover themselves. I help them heal from their past traumas and beliefs about themselves, the world. I help them better understand themselves so they can decide if that's how they want to be and where they want to go if they don't want to be where they are in life, and exactly how to get there. So I
Mm.
coach them over the phone, online, one on one, through calls just like this or over the phone. And together, I help them understand themselves, their situation that they're in, the best possible strategy to get exactly what they want. But first and foremost, to become that person, how to become the person to get what they want in their life in the most simple and
Yeah.
effective way possible.
Speaking of becoming a person, I saw some pictures of you on Facebook where you're like shredded up, like six pack and cut. And I thought that's a really strong testament that if you work, you could look like this too if you work really hard at Photoshop and photoshopping your pictures. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
also do, sorry, bad joke. I'm not supposed to insult my guests, I've been told. But
No, 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 you're good, good.
you're quite a bit into fitness as well. Is that correct?
Yes, I love it. It's like a lot of people are, they go to the gym to, let out all of their stresses, but I feel that, just a regular practice of doing that keeps you strong physically as well as mentally. And that's kind of where my name came from, Michael J. Fit. Yeah.
Let me see a flex just to know that they are for real.
Oh, come on now.
All right.
You know it,
Okay,
baby.
there you
You know it.
Let's try the triceps stuff.
You want to see the tries? They're still developing.
No.
Maybe I get some good shadows right here. I
Okay.
don't know.
That's all shadowing, by the way. Just so you know.
You know what I mean?
All shadow. All right, Bub, you got a question?
So, you talk about being a life coach and helping people seek the best
I'm
in
seeing
themselves as who they are. I have found that there's a stereotype of life coaches out there who will just tell you what you want to hear, and they'll collect your money. What is it that keeps you? Because you don't seem like that sort of shady individual to me. What is it that keeps you from bridging that gap and just taking people's money?
Is because I decide who I want to work with and if I can actually help them out. It's not my
Mm.
interest to just take somebody's money, because for me, yeah, I'm running a business here, but I want to be fulfilled and live
Mm.
out a purpose. And so for me, it's like I tell all of my clients, there's going to be some things that I may tell you that you may not like, but I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to get you your results. And so I may not tell you everything that you want to hear, but I will definitely tell you everything that I feel you need to hear.
I respect.
That
Mhm.
was a really good question, Bub. I really appreciate that
Yeah, that
question.
was
And
good.
there is something I do want to ask real quick. But what is who is mostly mainly your client base? Is it mostly males or females, or um, what would you say?
Mostly
Is it
males. No, mostly females are the ones that watch my videos and that sign up. But if I were to give like a percentage, it would be maybe about 70% women that sign up and watch my videos versus 30% males.
really? Wow, that's
Yes.
quite shocking to me. All right,
Hmm.
so see, next question. This is a really interesting one, and yeah, what would you say is the number one thing that keeps people from living their best lives?
So there's a lot of things, but in short, it's knowing exactly what they want and
Mm,
how they want their lives to be, and staying focused long enough to keep taking the initiative to make it happen. So they think that the pain of, or the discomfort, I would say, of making the necessary changes in order to change their lives is worse than the pain of living
mm,
a less than fulfilling life. And so they make distractions for themselves to numb themselves, or to make them forget about that they have a destiny, or they have a much better life that they want to live. So they do other things for short-term gratification to make themselves forget about it and be comfortable in their discomfort.
mm. That's
Mhm.
good. All right, I got one quick question follow up, and then I'm gonna let Bub have a little bit of time with you. But what time is it, man? Because I saw in that picture, you're like in the picture we used, you're like checking the time.
It's every single time. It's all day, all long. It's anytime. It's always, the time is now. So like for
Yeah.
me, like in that picture where I'm looking at the time, it's the signal. The time is now, but time is not important. It's irrelevant. It's all you. Whenever you want to do something, you do it now.
And you know what? You want to know funny? One time I was going through the airport with the watch on, and I had probably had like 10 people come up to me and ask me the time. So that's something you don't see very frequently. So it's nice seeing you with a little bit of style there. So anyway, I'm going to take myself off the screen, and Bub is going to have a good 10 minutes with you. So yeah, enjoy.
All right.
Just realized I was muted. So uh, I can understand the financial incentive of wanting to be a life coach. Life coach is how you would describe yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Like what kind of pushed you towards that? Out of curiosity.
It was pushed towards me, I guess you would say. I was being demanded of it. It was my calling. So a long time ago, I decided to change my life in a lot of major ways. I was, because I wasn't always like this. I was depressed. I was struggling with anger, anxiety. I was just going in a loop of just, messing my life up, and I wanted to be better. And so I remember I went on this, I discovered I became very excited, and I created like an Instagram. I began posting a lot of videos on there, me learning all these new things. I was very motivated, I was very inspired, and I was very amped up. And I would start, getting on my phone, hey, people, this and that, telling people a bunch of stuff. Meanwhile, I had no intentions of being a coach or being a speaker. And then eventually people started messaging me. They're like, hey, I just want to let you know, man, I appreciate your content. I'm like, hey, thanks. But then after a while, people were like, hey, I wanted to let you know that for a while I was depressed. And, I was watching your stuff every day, and that really helped me get through it. I'm just like, okay. And then people started telling me, hey, are you a coach? Are you a speaker? Like, I really need some guidance right now. Is there any way I can talk to you? And for me, I'm just like, yeah, sure. Give me a call. I'd love to help you out. And so I started doing that more and more. And it became more than obvious to me the more that I enjoyed doing it and the more fulfilled I felt that that's what I actually wanted to do.
So I actually kind of was going to follow this up with what were you feeling called by, but you sort of expounded on that yourself. So thank you for taking the answer or the question away from me. So, I mean, I'm kind of curious about your credentials as far as being like a life coach are. Do you have any schooling, or is it just sort of school of hard knocks?
So I would definitely say what makes me a great coach is my experience in what I've been through and the people that I've coached. But with the certifications, I have various certifications. I have about 5 different certifications that range from life coaching to relationship coaching, even self-esteem elevation coaching for children. And all of these were done online.
Okay, so that actually when you compare, when I compare you to other life coaches, you absolutely have credentials versus that I'm just a manly man.
Right, yeah.
But so something that I kind of feel like comes up, how does your masculinity play into how you help people as a life coach?
Can you be a little more specific?
So you have some life coaches out there who will just go on and on about being a man and that kind of thing. I'm kind of curious about how it's kind of difficult to ask because it's pretty subjective. But you as a man, you mentioned that most of your actual clients, thank you, Alex. Your actual clients are men, while most of your viewers are women. Like, how does that play into how you help out the men who are paying for your service?
So I go based off of the individual. So if I'm speaking with a woman, I'm not going to talk maybe too much about like masculinity, but no matter what, if they're male or female, what I coach more and pay more attention to is empowerment and feeling confident within and feeling that power where you trust yourself, and believe you, and you remove any fears that you have inside of you to do what's necessary in order to get what you want in life and no longer being scared or letting the past prevent you from being that person. And so I guess the ways that I communicate between the two would be a bit different, but it goes based on each individual. However, I need to talk to them to relate to them or whatever I need to, implement into the conversation or really emphasize on, I will do so in order to get those results, whether it be a little bit more lightheartedness or a little bit more toughness, whatever I feel is necessary in order to really impact them.
All right, we got a question for you. Where did you get your certifications? They're putting you on the spot.
Put me on the spot. I got them through Dr. Joe Rubino. If you look him up on the internet, he has a lot of online courses that, he was my first coach. And then other ones I got through John Gray's Academy. And then there was a couple other ones that I got just for the sake of learning more. All right. They slip my mind right now.
So real quick, we're going to break this up with some quick God talk. And then I'm going to talk to you about maybe a little bit about relationships. But you told me that you were in a previous lifetime that you were a tiger, and so you obviously believe in reincarnation. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I had a channeling session as well as some other sessions. So I've had a lot of alternative healing sessions from different
Mm,
practitioners. And there was one specifically that I had in holographic kinetics. And that is where you do, you know, healing based on past lifetimes. And you're able to
mm,
get into a deep state and remember past lifetimes. And so I remembered in one of the sessions, because I've had many of those sessions, in
mm,
one of those sessions, I recalled a past lifetime of me being a tiger. And when I was this tiger, I remember that I was in the jungle and that I hunted this very young prey. I don't know exactly what it was, but they had a school, with them. I didn't see the school, the rest of their family, but I just remember attacking this very young animal and eating it up. And when I was done with it, I remember I released it into the river. And then when I seen it floating down the river, its family was right there and it seen what I did to their little baby brother, their little sister, their son, their, whatever it was, right? And so I remember in that moment, I realized that I felt some kind of remorse at what I had
mm.
done, but I was an animal and it was instinctual for me to go and, slaughter my prey and eat and survive. But at the same time, I recognized that I felt some kind of a way about it. I didn't feel good about it. And so in that moment, that is when I realized that I did not have to be this predator who goes out and attacks and does these things. There's another way of going about it. And there's actually two sides of me that I can embrace, the very vicious side, that can, battle and fight, but then also the very loving, forgiving, and compassionate, caring side. And so it was after learning that lesson, after that lifetime as a tiger, that's when I was able to graduate consciousness based on the life lesson that I had learned into a human.
That's interesting because I have a yin yang right here, and I think you got one too, right? You got a yin
Yes,
yang?
sir. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah. Yeah.
balance. I think that's a very interesting idea of having a little bit of good in the bad and a little bit of bad in the good. That's a very
Mhm.
interesting concept because most people want to see things from just an extreme. I'm 100% right. You're totally wrong. If you, I'm a Christian, Bub's an atheist. Um, what would you describe yourself as? I think you said you do believe in a God, right? But you're not religious.
I mean, I wouldn't put myself in a category. I'm just very open and respecting to everybody's beliefs, but
Yeah,
it's whatever you believe to be true is what's true. And for me, I guess, I'm just open to the infinite consciousness that is the universe, that is this creation that we are in. I'm open to learning more about it, but knowing that I don't know, but we're, just using our best judgment here for me anyway, using my best judgment to what I feel is happening. But I honestly do feel that there is a whole lot more to this life than just being a human.
right. You got a follow for that, Bub?
Actually, I kind of do. It goes back to your past life as a tiger. As someone who takes it seriously, as you do, uh, I know I'm kind of going back in history a little bit. When Charlie Sheen said that he's got tiger's blood, uh, it, as someone who actually ascribes meaning to something like that, what do you have to say to people who are like, I got tiger's blood, or that kind of thing? What are your thoughts?
So why did he say that?
Uh, Part of me thinks it may have to do with cocaine. Okay, but
That's what it.
to me, it's in a way Charlie Sheen kind of cheapening, in a way, what you believe is an actual thing. So I'm kind of curious what you have to say about people who are like that.
I mean, it's up to whatever anybody believes to be true. Like that, that's what they believe, and then they have every right to believe that, But if you have a strong inclination towards some kind of an animal, I would say that that has something to do with your past, maybe in a past lifetime or whatever that is. For our blood carries memories, it carries traumas through, and it survives through bloodlines. So in our DNA, it's like this gigantic intelligent storage unit that
Mm,
remembers everything. It's filled with just endless data and information. They say that 1 terabyte or 1 gram of our DNA stores so many terabytes of information. It's just endless information that our blood carries. So it is in our blood that carries a lot of the memories from our past. And so it may be something that was very important that happened to in the bloodline of that family or whatever it was. But if there's some strong relativity with you and an animal or a person and an animal, then I believe it holds some kind of weight.
yeah. All right, Bub. Well, I'm gonna give you a few minutes with Alex, and we'll see you back in 10 minutes or so. All right. Okay, so this is interesting. This is interesting that I think the majority of your work, would you say the majority of your work has to do specifically with relationships or just with life coaching in general?
Relationships.
Because I saw I, this is your handle right here, Michael J. Fit.
Mhm.
It was either TikTok, maybe it was TikTok or Facebook, and you were giving a lot of relationship advice. So, why do you think that so many people need help in that area?
Because there's so many problems in that area and it's so confusing. And when I was doing life coaching about just a broad spectrum of things, I didn't really get so much attention, so much traction, so many clients. I was just keeping it very general. But when I started focusing more on the relationship aspect of it, my views
Mm,
started going up, my
mm,
inquiries started going up, my signups started going up because that's something that's very important to a person is the relationship that they have in their life. And when things are going really bad in their relationship, they don't know what to do. They go to their friends for advice, their family, they watch videos, but it all still leaves them wondering, what do I do? But when you have somebody like me that's going on and posting videos, answering questions of exactly what people are going through, they find me and they go, oh, this guy, he knows exactly what I'm going through. I need his help. And so it is, all of the problems that people can have in relationships. There's just so many things that can happen. And so
you,
that's what makes it, that important, I guess.
I want to share with something with you about my own personal life, but about 10 years ago, I sought professional help. I was divorced from my wife, and in having a conversations uh, with my counselor, I told her that like the longest relationship I'd ever been in was like 2 months, and I'm like I had a lot of 2 month relationships, and she told me that that actually makes sense because at least for me that because it's usually like after that getting to know each other stage whenever you might start to develop some intimacy, and so if that was I was incapable of doing that at the time. And she also told me that intimacy has more to do with your own personal relationship with yourself than with the other person. So if you're not comfortable with yourself internally, then that's going to be really hard to do to get that to have that level of intimacy with another person. So I thought that was very interesting. But do you do you help people to with that like just the idea that like okay, this is not 100% the other person's fault. Maybe there's some personal stuff that I need to take responsibility for. What do you think?
So as far as, so can you rephrase the question?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll phrase it like this. When you hear people talking about their relationships, they're always like, it's my spouse's 100% of their fault. And whenever I hear anybody say that, I already know that they don't understand the situation properly because even the worst relationships are like 80-20, maybe like 70-30. And so there's personal responsibility that like we could do something to nag somebody and then they wind up reacting to that. So it's like
Okay.
we have to take responsibility for the things we're doing that can trigger other people. Because I know my wife can do stuff that'll trigger me that I wouldn't normally do otherwise, and I could do stuff to her to trigger her that she wouldn't do normally otherwise. So there's responsibility you have to take for that.
Yeah, it's the matter of accountability. If there's ever something wrong in your relationship, you always have to, I mean, you don't always have to, but it would be a great idea for you to look within and say, well,
Mhm.
why am I having issues right here? What is my problem? Is it that my partner is doing things that upset or to get me to yell at them? Or is it
Mhm.
me not being able to handle my own emotions is the reason why I'm yelling with them or yelling at them? And if there's uh, any issues going on, always look within yourself first and see, well, what's going on with me? Because if there's a disconnect in your relationship, more than likely it's one or both people have a disconnect within themselves as to
Mm.
where it's not specifically what they do, but your response or reaction to it.
There you go. And then real quick before I get Bob back on here, I was wondering if you could tell me this. This is an interesting one, but how can a person go about attracting the love of their life?
So I guess you would say the first thing to do is to start walking away from what you do not want and trying to stay in relationships that don't work or get people to treat you how you want to be treated that aren't treating you how you want to be treated, knowing exactly what you want in a relationship, in a partner, and removing all of the things that are preventing you from getting that. So again, looking within and letting go of your own negative beliefs, your own patterns, maybe self-sabotage, attachment or loneliness issues, removing all of those things from yourself so you're absolutely clear and present. And you combine that with knowing exactly what you want and walking away from exactly what you do not want. You only accept and get what you do want. So those windows of opportunity will be open all day.
So I'm finishing up my third book right now. I'm like 98% done. And I have a chapter in there about a guy named Jeff Scoop, and he winds up running the largest Nazi organization in America, and he winds up becoming like a peace advocate now. He left a life of hate. But the quote I opened up for his chapter is it says that it's from a movie. It's called A Peaceful Warrior. Any chance you've ever heard of
Mm.
that?
I've heard of
With
it.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. But he says that like, and I'm going to butcher the quote, but he says that like that the secret to change is not focusing on like trying not to be something, but focusing on what you want to be. And
Mhm.
the other stuff will come naturally, but you really got to put the emphasis on really what you want to be. Has to be the positive side, not just I don't want to like I want to be healthy. I don't want to keep smoking or binge eating or whatever, drinking.
Mhm.
But all right, Bub, you have a nice little break there.
I had a pretty good one. Yeah, managed to go to the bathroom, so I'm all good.
There you
How's the weather
go.
holding up? Weather holding up?
Yeah, you may notice that the lights haven't flickered here in a while, so the wind's calmed down, fortunately.
By the way, this is a side note, but both of you guys eat your hearts out. But I'm gonna finish up here and I'm gonna go down to the beach and go chill out for a little bit. So you
Nice.
guys,
I would like to go
well,
to a beach, but I live in Ohio.
I know. All right, Bub, you got another question? We got a couple more here before we close out.
Yeah, Diesel, if you could highlight, there is two things in this world: lions and sheep. There's a comment in your section there. You focused on
Yeah.
it a little bit ago. So I'm kind of curious because lions and sheep aren't necessarily two things that either prey or run away from the other. What do you have to say about species? I don't know where I was going with that. Um, that don't necessarily hunt one another. Because I mean, with life coaching, there's a lot of animal analogies. How do you come up with these different similes? Like I'm kind of curious because I hear life coaches all the time bringing up animal analogies. Where does that come from, or do you have a use for it?
So me personally, I think it more or less relates to the instinct. I mean, I really don't, refer too much to animals in my coaching, but if I were to, based on, that particular analogy right there, there's a time to be the wolf and the time to be the sheep. There's a time to stand up, and not be afraid and go out there and hunt and fight. But then there also is the time to be the sheep that is, much more
Hmm.
flow, so to speak. And so, even though sheep's, they kind of like follow along in the manger, and there is that whole aspect of people being asleep, sheep's just following whatever the system or the government or whatever tells us to do. But as far as that animal analogy goes, it's like whatever concept you need to put into your mind to adopt that's going to get you those results, well, feel free to do it.
That's interesting because in Christianity, one of the images that we have of Christ is of being a lion, and then the also one is being of a lamb. And so there is a concept inside of Christianity of, in certain situations, it's better to be like a snake, and in certain situations, it's better to be more like a dove, because there are some times, as you said, there are some times in which the situation might dictate you being a different kind of person. And so I think one problem that people have is you mentioned about like genetics and DNA, and that's an interesting way to take. That's an interesting take. The way that I have come to understand it in my writings is that the kind of conflict resolution that I experienced being like being a Latino from the East Side, that thing I've learned from living overseas now, and experiencing people from a lot of different cultures and a lot of different societies, that a lot of that stuff was extremely unhealthy. And just because I like to do something, just because I saw it witnessed by a lot of people, I witnessed it from a lot of people, doesn't mean that that's right. So I've had to unlearn a lot of the bad things that I've learned in my life, shown by my family and friends and stuff. And so if anybody ever gets an opportunity to travel, I would really highly suggest that, because it's possible that when we get so stuck in a very limited way of thinking, that it could really stop us from growing in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I have another relationship question, and it's, I think everybody is going to experience this at some point or another in relationships, because we all know what the butterfly feelings are. Like when you can't talk to somebody enough, you can't see them enough, you can't kiss them enough, you can't make love to them enough when you first meet them. But then as time goes by, you start to notice either bad things about them, or you have some kids and you have a new career or whatever, your life gets too hectic, and so people can lose their fire in relationships. So I'm wondering, because I could probably use this advice too. Now I should probably send you a little bit of money on PayPal or something, because I need to know this. Like, how can someone rekindle their fire?
It starts within. Whatever the is lacking within, we oftentimes get too comfortable in a relationship and we begin depending on our partner to make us feel a certain way. And so whenever you are depending on someone else, then that natural feeling, that natural fire is not within you. It's artificial. And whenever you are depending on your partner for too much, that becomes unattractive. And so it is, in reattracting your own partner back to you, you must feel attracted to yourself. You must feel excited within yourself. You must light that fire within yourself and make your life and yourself as an ice cream sundae, and your partner would be just the cherry on top. It makes sense?
Whoa, I was deep, man. Too
Mhm.
deep for a Saturday morning for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm at the process going for a minute. All right. Well,
I
yeah. Do you
kind
have
of
a quick follow up?
Yeah, I think I see where you're going with that. And it's kind of like premise of happiness comes from within. You can't expect someone else to provide happiness to you. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that who we choose as our partner should add to your happiness, but to be happy already, alone by yourself, fulfilled, and the more fulfilled and happy you are, then your partner joins in with that. The more happy and fulfilled they are, then you guys come together and just add to each other's happiness and fulfillment.
So I'm kind of curious what you have to say about the whole opposites attract thing. Someone who doesn't necessarily have interests or things that provide happiness that line up exactly or very closely with yours. Would you say that they can add to your happiness by bringing in other potential interests, or?
Oh yeah. So you never want your partner to be exactly like you. I mean, you want them to be different. And
Mhm.
a lot of people forget about there's a very important aspect that I think is overlooked in relationships is can this person help you grow? And I think a lot of the times that a person is brought into our life to show us what we cannot see on our own, and oftentimes that can be taken in a very negative way, as to where if someone's very stubborn and they do not like change or being shown the truth or exposed to their insecurities, even though they know it would help them, then that can work in a negative way. However, when you welcome someone into your life that can show you how to be more compassionate, show you what may be lacking within you, and help you grow, you guys only grow together. And that's just another beautiful addition for, finding someone like that.
Hey, I do got to say this. I would be remiss not to say this, but it really is a pleasure talking to you, Mr. Fox, because there's so much negativity. There's so much, bad vibes all over the internet, and it really is a breath air, a breath of fresh air. I'm sorry. To, as I said, Saturday morning here. And I haven't eaten coffee, so I haven't. I'm giving up coffee for Lent, so I'm not exactly
There you
batting
go.
100%. Yeah, but I will say this: it is a breath of fresh air talking to someone like you who's so positive and who's doing
Thank you.
something with their lives, man. It's really great. So I really want to
I appreciate you
appreciate
saying that. Thank you.
appreciate you coming on. I do. We are going to get into this last question here, and yeah, you nervous or you enjoying the conversation? How you feeling?
I love it. I'm having a blast.
Yeah, this will be an
Yeah, really
interesting
good.
one. This would be an interesting one. I know we're enjoying ourselves despite Mr. Bub over here. So, we got to be enjoying ourselves. All right. All right. Here we go. So why is it that so many people, sorry, I got to take some cheap shots at people every now and again. But why is it that so many people find it hard to keep motivated with health, and how can people overcome that?
It's just a matter of habit. We believe that it's harder than it really is. And if we just were to stick to something long enough, then it's eventually going to turn into another habit.
Mm.
But we look at it, a fitness journey as a mountain instead of putting a stairway onto that mountain and looking at and breaking it down into steps and going, I just have to work out and eat healthy today, just today, because we go, I need to work out every single day for the rest of my life. I need to eat healthy and I do all this. But instead, if we were to go, I just need to work out and eat as healthy as I can possibly, eat and work out as much as I possibly can just today. And then tomorrow you repeat and you do the same thing. And what you do is you make it easy for yourself. We overcomplicate things by saying we have to do this, we have to do that. It has to be a certain way. But when you actually structure it in such a way where it simplifies it for you and you just show up,
Uh-oh.
Okay. Yeah,
so
looks like hold on, back up 10 seconds. Back up 10 seconds.
hold on, I think the mic.
We lost you. Back up 10 seconds.
Hold on. 1 second, 1 second.
Yeah. Bub, So I was joking around before about glasses, but what kind of prescription glasses you got?
Well, actual prescription. I don't know my exact prescription. My doctor does.
Mm.
All I know is
Hey.
I can't read traffic signs without them.
Oh, okay. All right, you back? You back?
Yes. Yes, I'm back.
Oh, back up 10 seconds because you cut out. So
Okay, I believe the last thing that I was saying is making it easy for yourself,
right.
simplifying it as to where, we try to put ourselves on these ridiculous diet, eating a bunch of foods we do not like. But instead, if we make it easy for ourselves, we can say, well, what are the healthiest foods that I do like and only eat those, and trying to restrict ourselves to, all right, I'm never going to eat, like if your thing is like candy bars, I'm never going to eat another candy bar ever again in my life, rather than saying, well, you know what, I'm eating one candy bar a day. So how about I just limit it to, once a week? And, at the end of that week, when I eat healthy, I can, have that as a reward. And so looking at your lifestyle as a reward. So if you like to watch movies, you like to chill back and watch Netflix, that's cool. You can do that as your reward for working out. So finding
Mm.
ways to be excited about it and staying dedicated to it, and knowing that, life is going to pass anyway, you might as well, do it now because the results are only going to come as long as you stay consistent.
Any chance you ever saw, and I think he did a TED talk about this, but a guy, he turned his whole life into like a video game and he was tracking himself with points. And did you see that?
I heard something of, well, I've heard that, quite a bit. Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I got to look him up sometime, but thank you, man. You've motivated me today to get off of see, I've been on a cheat year and the cheat year, like a cheat decade. So I'm going to try to get back on to not cheating anymore. But okay, any last thoughts, Bub? Any last ideas?
Honestly, like Diesel is probably a very healthy person for me to have in my life because I tend to dismiss large groups of people out of hand. And when he brought me on to talk to you, I had some reservations. I'm like, this is a guy who's gonna be bringing up woo-woo stuff left and right. Like there are plenty of life coaches out there. A couple come to mind that I'm not going to mention because I prefer to discuss ideas rather than the individuals that espouse them. But he's kind of helped me re-expand my mind a little bit to where it wouldn't have been. So the question that I guess I should be asking is, how does open-mindedness play a role in life coaching or being life coached?
Well, knowing that no matter how much time can go on or no matter what can happen, we can use everything to grow. We can use it to our advantage or our disadvantage. A person that we, equally don't like can teach us something more valuable than a person that we do like. And so I guess it would be, when you're very open to everything, you have the ability to intake more insight instead of listening to someone to agree or disagree with them, just going on and, ignoring, putting aside any, disagreements or, triggers or anything like that based on what they say, just simply going along and collecting insight for your own benefit and using that to your advantage, whether you discard it or you keep it for yourself, is something, to be said.
So,
and you know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Diesel.
No, good. Finish with that.
So gross oversimplification of what you were saying, take in as much information as you can to better understand not just the world, but other people's perspectives.
That's a good thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the more you can understand, and what it is, it's everyone else is just helping you understand yourself. The more you
Mm.
can understand yourself, the more you can understand others, and the more you will understand this world. The more you understand life, so it is in using the avenue of other people, of what they present into your physical reality, whatever they tell you, whatever they do, whatever you experience, using that in some form to grow, and not taking, any of, what some people have as stubbornness, because, a lot of closed-minded people might be stubborn, is removing that stubbornness for the sake, for the benefit of growing and learning and becoming better. When you can do that and just throw all of that away, I mean, it leaves you open for growth all day.
So, I do want to close off with this thought that I was once, Bub, I was once a person who you would not be able to have the conversations that you've had with me. I mean, I was out there, and one of the things I will say is that I could not take any criticism of myself. Like literally, any time someone would criticize me, it would cause me to have physical reactions. Like blood would shoot to my face. I would start yelling. I might even turn violent if someone just said, you did this wrong. And so one of the things that I've learned, as I said, living overseas now for 10 years, I've made a complete jackass out of myself so many times, and I've been proven wrong empirically so many times. And so that's humbled me. It's reduced me down. It's reduced my ego down. And now I am so utterly grateful if somebody can point out something that's wrong with me, that they're able to see objectively from a different perspective. Because there's this one of my favorite movies ever is called Cloud Atlas, and it's partially based in South Korea, by the way. But one of the women says on there, she says, to truly know yourself is to see yourself from the eyes of a third party, to see yourself from another person's perspective. That's how you truly know yourself, because we're all so biased in the way that we see ourselves, and we think we're flawless, or we're never wrong in a situation. And that's why I was saying in relationships, it's usually something, even in the worst case scenarios, maybe 20, 80. But most of the time, more often than not, it's 60-40, it's 55-45%. Both sides, you need both parties to in a relationship. So yeah, I definitely want to thank you for your time and for opening us up. Can you tell us real find you online?
Yeah, so my social media's handle is what I'm on the most is TikTok, so it's at Michael J Fit. Instagram, it's Michael.J.Fit. Facebook, Michael J Fits. You can just Google my name, Michael J Fit, and I'll pop up. And then my website is right there, www.mjfitofficial.com. And then, by the way, if and when you do find me online, send me a message. I'll respond. So I'm here to help in any way possible. If anybody has a question, anything I can help them out with, just let me know how I can help.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, something I do want to say real quick is you should probably change your handle, because I'm pretty sure Michael J. Fox is going to sue you at some point. So, did you get that?
What was that? What was that?
I said you should probably change your handle, because I'm pretty sure at some point Michael J. Fox is going to sue you. So, no, I do want to say this. If you do want to hashtag this, and I'm going to create this real quick. If you want to enter in for a chance to win a free session sponsored by rhepodcast, an hour session, type this in. Here we go. Michael, hashtag this Michael J Fit, and we will be choosing a special person in the comment section. So show them some love right here. Hashtag Michael J Fit. And again, we will be giving away one free session from RG Podcast to promote this video. You have a lot of interesting things to talk about. And what we don't ever try to do in this podcast is try to completely talk about any topic in one session. So we'll have to have you back for a second or third session. But yeah, I do thank you for your time. Do you have any last to close out here?
Any last just to boss? Yeah, anybody that's out there, and this is going to my own personal things that I've learned in life, is to live your life now. Forgive yourself. Forget about what happened and focus more on what can happen. Every single time you wake up, you literally won the lottery because it wasn't guaranteed that when you went to bed the night before that you would even wake up today.
Ooh,
So this moment is it. Live your
ooh.
life and get everything you've ever wanted and realize that you have everything you've ever wanted and you can get it at any given time. Appreciate what you have because it's all there for you.
Oh man, look at my arm. I got goosebumps everywhere. Ooh, that was chills on me. No, but really, we're gonna have to have you back for a second and third talk. We got to talk a little bit more about relationships today, which is, I think, very
Definitely.
needed today. We could talk a little bit more about that maybe next time, but maybe next time we'll talk a little bit more about some overcoming some traumas and how to move on, because I think that's one thing that really trips up a lot of people and stops people in the tracks progressing into the future. So we could talk about that next time. But again, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Bub. Really asked some good questions today, Bub. Always good to have you around here. So thank you for your contributions to this podcast. And yeah, look up Michael J. Fit if you want to win that. If you want to win that hour session, look up Michael J. Fit. Hashtag it right there, and we will be choosing a lucky winner. So look us up at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and our website, www.rhepodcast.com. If you can stick around for one quick minute after I play this outro. Here we go.